How's it? Welcome back. So while I was lying in bed suffering with the stomach flu and losing my damn teeth in the process, of which I covered that whole story in the previous video, so check that out if you're interested. If not though, I'm sure that all of my regulars who haven't seen that previous video, and probably even some of the random people who happen to stumble across this one, might be wondering what the hell happened to my face. So what I might do actually is like splice out a different cut of me going over that story again really quickly and then putting that at the end of this video. And I might actually have to like put that at the end of every video I shoot from now until I get my damn teeth fixed. So yeah, that might be happening. But regardless, while I was in bed all uncomfortable suffering with the stomach flu, I thought I would give Robert Monroe's gateway tapes another try and do it in combination with the light machine. And I've covered this whole combination of the gateway tapes with the light machine in a previous video. They work great. The light machine I was using was the Loom Light by Light Bath. And yeah, it worked well. So I thought I would go over that really quickly for this video. So the gateway tape I did was actually one I've never tried before. I did tape 41 Odyssey 6, which takes you to focus level 21. We're up until this point, just going off of memory here, but I'm pretty sure the highest focus level I ever got to was focus level 12. And I just do this by, I get the free ones they have on SoundCloud. I do know they have some of these tapes on YouTube and stuff like that, but all the ones I found on YouTube had pretty shit sound quality where it's very important that the audio is split correctly. And so far, all the ones I've come across on YouTube, that was not the case. So you really would have to, you have to make sure that the audio is split properly. And the ones on SoundCloud that I've found so far, at least, are split properly. And so, yeah, it was very cool going to focus level 21. I actually like this way more than any of the previous gateway tapes I've done. Some of the differences with this one, though, was there was a different narrator or a different person talking, kind of guiding you through it. It was not Robert himself. Where up until this point, all the earlier gateway tapes I did, it was Robert talking. And this one was some other guy. I believe there's 3 of them. Robert does them. I think his daughter did some. And then this other dude. So this is one of the other dudes. Now, there was some kind of good and bad things with him. Like, his voice is definitely not as soothing and relaxing and like as hypnotic as Robert's is. But he also talks way less, which I liked a lot. Like, all the talking and narrating they would do, especially in the earlier tapes, it's just like way overkill. It's too much. It just throws me out of the process. And in this tape 41, there's some talking in the beginning, but really not that much. He just says, get to level 12, however the hell it is you plan on getting there. Then once you get there, he leads you to focus level 21. And then he's just like quiet until the end. So we're talking like 20, maybe 30 minutes of essentially just silence. At least silence from the talking side. You just have the binaural beat thing going on. And that was really cool. For the light frequencies I did, I really only tried out 2 different ones. I normally don't care too much about the light frequencies specifically. I just like I go by the flashing frequency more than the specific frequency coming out of the light, if that makes sense. So this started out in Schumann, and it just wasn't really vibing with it. So I thought I would change it, and then it went to alpha right after that. And that one did click right away, so I liked it, so I didn't bother trying to keep messing with it as I was getting deeper into my session. That worked really well. Also, what I figured I should probably do here too is talk about the progression that you see when you're under the light. And so for me, because I was so uncomfortable and like just feeling sick and whatever, I was having a hard time focusing. So I did actually have to specifically use my technique for locking my attention to the light so I could actually, you know, get the hypnotic trance-like state that I'm going for. So as I was looking at it, normally the first thing I will look for is a center point, but that's just not what popped up first for me. For me, the first thing I saw was like this checkerboard design that kind of shot out along the sides of where the center would be. So once I saw that, I knew to lock in on it. Just hold that in your object of attention as long as you can. Keep breathing, just, you know, vibing with that checkerboard shit you see. And then I saw a center point pop up. And that's kind of what my main go-to is. So once I saw the center point, I focused mainly on that. It had some of the checkerboards kind of pop up around the center point. But then as I kept focusing on that center point, eventually it built out to where it was more like a tube. Like the center was here, but it was kind of like it was all connected moving outwards. And that's another progression that I like to look for. And then next thing I wait for is movement. So eventually the tube started kind of twisting and turning. And then once I'm there, I know I'm good. That's my sweet spot. stay in that as long as I can, and then wait for actual imagery and stuff to pop up from there. And then the imagery I got from this last session I was doing while I was all sick lying in bed was actually a pretty interesting one. And it made me kind of think of remote viewing stuff. Although if you know my point of view on remote viewing, I don't so much believe it. But nonetheless, it was a pretty interesting image that happened to randomly pop up while I was under the lights and listening to the Gateway tapes. Or like I saw this thing look kind of like this, and it was like dropping and falling. And I was just seeing it, couldn't tell what it was falling towards. And then it was like it hit water. And I was like, oh, it looks like something. I just kind of connected these dots falling from space into water. And then I kind of got too excited and engaged with it, and it kind of just blanked out all the scenes. And then even the twisty, spinny center point that I was seeing disappeared. No sweat, that's all good. You just stay there, look back, focus in. But then I was specifically trying to find that same image. But the next image that popped up looked like this wall that I just knew to be like an ice wall. So it looked like either a super duper gigantic iceberg, or like, you know, the ice wall of Antarctica or some shit like that. I don't even know if Antarctica has a big ice wall that looks like that. But nonetheless, a big ice wall, like Game of Thrones style almost, right? And then I saw like the submarine thing kind of floating in front of it. So it was neat because it did somewhat link up to the thing I saw falling out of the sky. And so yeah, maybe I was remote viewing some military shit. Although from my point of view, what I would think it was is whatever that first image was, okay, that's fine. But then I think the next submarine image, I would think that probably popped up because I already had this loose narrative kind of going in my head that it might have been some spaceship or something falling from the sky. And so who would pick that up if it was, say, like a UFO or something? Well, the military would probably want to be there first. So that's my guess as to why that sort of imagery popped up first. But yeah, that's basically it. Let me look at my notes again here really quick, see if I missed anything. Nah, that's good enough. So until the next video, keep your meditations legit. Alrighty, so in case you're sitting there wondering what the hell happened to my face, here's the story one more time. So about 20 plus years ago, something like 18, 19 years old, a little bit after getting out of high school, I'm chilling with the boys, partying, drinking beers and shit at this beach called Sandy's at nighttime. A fight breaks out that we were involved in. We lost the fight, and in the process, I lost one of my teeth. So all the way up until this point, I've been wearing a retainer this whole time. But then a couple of nights ago, I ended up getting a really bad stomach flu. And then to make matters worse, we had a grad party that night, so my stomach was like filled to the brim with food. So my stomach is already sore. I try to lie down to go to sleep my way through it. Wake up about 1 a.m. Stomach is going crazy. I realize I'm about to yak my brains out. Go straight to the toilet. Immediately, hardcore, violent, like fire hose style, puking out of my mouth into the toilet. And then at some point in the process, my retainer must have gotten caught up in there, fell out, and then I flushed that shit down the toilet. And that's basically it. So I'm going to try to make an appointment with the damn dentist sooner than later and hopefully get this shit fixed. But I'm guessing it'll probably be hopefully a couple weeks at best, maybe like a month, hopefully not more than that. And so yeah, until then, I'll be rocking this look. So it is what it is.